Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the AEW review for the, let's see, 29th of December 2021, the last of 2021. I don't know. Not exactly. To me, this is the weakest Dynamite they've probably done all year in a lot of ways. Just too many multi person matches that don't matter in the long run. We open with Excalibur and Tony Schiavone already at the desk. Out comes Jim Ross. Standing ovation. Band is back together, Schiavone says, and JR says it's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Nice way to open the show. Matt Hardy, Private Party, and FTR with Tully Blanchard, Joel Joel, and The Blade defeats Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, and Tag Team Champions Lucha Brothers. Wheeler and Cage start the match off for both teams. Wheeler avoids a kill switch early, but gets nailed with a flapjack instead. Christian pounded on both members of FTR in a neutral corner. Tags made on both sides, Jungle Boy and Harwood. Jungle Boy takes out Harwood, takes him down with an elbow and a dropkick. Page then gets a tag and hits a slingshot uppercut on the floor. Harwood, Jungle Boy then goes off the snare trap on Harwood, who escapes. Tags in Isaiah Cassidy. Lucha Brothers then get a tag, hit a double team slash on Cassidy. Jungle Boy flies in with a dropkick, taking out Mark Quinn. Quinn then takes Jungle Boy down off the ropes with a Rana, and Jungle Boy flies right off to the side effect from Matt Hardy and a great looking spot. This gives Hardy slight advantage, and the heels work over Jungle Boy in the corner. Blanchard takes a couple of shots at Jungle Boy behind the referee back, and then Jungle Boy hits a rebound lariat, and Hardy gets tagged to Penta, hits Sling Blades on both members of Private Party. The Lucha Brothers and FTR pair off with Penta and FTR. DDT. Phoenix then hits a senton Atomico on Quinn for near fall. Phoenix then goes for Muscle Buster on Quinn. Quinn and Cassidy turn the move into a DDT in another decent enough spot. Harwood then worked over Phoenix with the crowd, and then there's a chant for Luchasaurus. Harwood then hits Gourdbuster on Phoenix for a near fall. Harwood then sets up Phoenix Superflex, but Phoenix counters and hits a double jump moonsault on FTR. Then gets a hot tag to Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus destroys everyone except Hardy. Luchasaurus then hits a clothesline on Harwood and then the tail whip on Wheeler Yuta. Luchasaurus then hits chokeslam on Harwood, and Penta gets blind tag. Luchasaurus and Christian Cage are not happy about. Penta then hits backstabber on Harwood, and the match breaks down. On the floor, Hardy sends Luchasaurus into a steel post. Penta then sets up Fear Factor on Yuta, but Cage gets the blind tag. Penta doesn't like this, gets into a shoving match with Cage. The FTR sticks to knocking Penta out, and he's knocked out of the ring. And then the big rig on Cage gets hit. Harwood gets pinfall on Cage. Lots of people think this is a good opener. I think it's just utter junk. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you have spots. It doesn't do anything for stories that matter. It wastes a bunch of TV time. Not a fan at all. Speaking of that, we move into another one of these. Daniel Garcia and 2.0 defeating Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. 902. At least this one's a little shorter. Kingston, though, starts off with Matt Lee, goes right off after Garcia, and match breaks down, settles into Kingston and Jeff Parker in the ring. Parker gets hit with a spine buster on Ortiz and then gets the tag. Ortiz and Santana double team Parker with a bunch of rapid strikes. Parker then retrieves the tag into Garcia. Santana hits Garcia with an enziguri and a rolling Three Amigos. Vertical suplexes. The crowd then chanted Eddie. After that, Santana and Ortiz takes Garcia down with a double team facebuster for near fall. Lee then pulls Ortiz out from the ring, and Santana hits a drive-by on on Ortiz and then hits the heels. Both are able to take control of the show. Split screen commercial break. Back from the break, Ortiz hits a shotgun dropkick on Garcia. Follows up with a tag to Kingston, who dominates Lee and Ortiz, and then Santana comes in, tries a standing moonsault. Lee gets the knees up and then rolls Santana out with a handful of tights, gets the out of nowhere pinfall. Match Parker and Lee double team Santana. Garcia hits Santana with a bell ringing. Jericho runs out with a baseball bat and then chases off 2.0. Garcia is a bit late in that process. Judas plays Jericho, gets the fans to sing. Kingston gets in Jericho's face for interfering in his affairs again. MJF cuts a promo backstage, finally something good on the program. Flanked by Shawn Spears and Wardlow, calls out Sting, calls him unprofessional for throwing him over the top rope. Anyway, MJF then turns attention to CM Punk and claims that Punk avoided him the entire match last week. MJF is now done with Punk and wants to get his hands on some championships. MJF tells Wardlow it's time for him to start racking up wins so he could qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Wardlow could then win and relinquish the TNT title shot to MJF. Before Wardlow could object, Mark Sterling came out and read over a clause in Wardlow's contract with MJF that forces Wardlow to do this. MJF promises to start racking up wins so he could get closer to the world title starting next week. Excalibur are excellent promo and could be interesting, although the Wardlow and MJF thing's been going on too long. And then it's too start and stop to really have an impact. Tony Schiavone interviewed the Lucha Brothers. Christian Cage interrupts to demand a tag team title match for Jurassic Express, and that they are next week on Dynamite. Alex Abrahantes insulted Christian's age and for being a terrible tag team partner. Wardlow with Shawn Spears defeats Colin Delaney. Didn't even know he still wrestled, to be honest. Clothesline, 4 power bombs, and it's over for Delaney. Spears hits Delaney with a steel chair post-match. Backstage promo with the Elite and the former Undisputed Era. The Young Bucks aren't happy. Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly wants to talk to Cole alone and chased everyone else away except for Brandon Cutler, who taped the whole thing for us to watch, rather. And then O'Reilly acknowledges the heat with Cole, and then they had in the past and wanted to make sure Cole had his back. Dan Lambert cuts a promo in the ring, running down on Anderson, Cody, and Brandy Rhodes. Lambert doesn't know anyone named Brandy who wasn't a stripper, and Lambert takes a shot at the tattoo, which that gets applauded. The Brandy comes out and calls Lambert a less talented version of Paul Heyman, although Lambert would rather be compared to Jim Cornette. When was the last time he got beat up by a woman? Didn't have to pay for it. And then Brandy and Lambert were about to fight. Dustin Rhodes runs in trying to stop Brandy. Ethan Page attacks Rhodes from behind. Cody didn't show up to defend his wife or brother, and we don't know what that's about. Jade Cargill defeats Thunder Rosa with Mark Sterling in the TBS semifinal. Better than it had any right to be, and the only match on the show so far that I deeply cared about. Rosa does a Wolverine cosplay for the match, takes down Sterling early, and then manages to hit a somersault sent onto the floor. Rosa and Cargill brawl on the floor. Cargill catches Rosa going for a crossbody and then hits a backbreaker. Still brawling on the floor, Rosa comes back by attacking Cargill's leg. Cargill then sends Rosa headfirst into the ring post, and match finally gets in the ring after a couple of minutes. Cargill misses a back elbow in the corner, and Rosa then hits a dragon screw with Cargill's legs, and Rosa slips off the middle rope, but covered it and hits a back elbow. Cargill hits a pump kick, and still selling her injured leg. Show goes to a split screen in the commercial break. Back from the break, Cargill's selling the bad leg, and Rosa is working over the injury. Rosa then hits a pair of drop kicks on Cargill's leg, rolls out for a 2 count. Cargill then catches Rosa with a Samoan drop, but nips up and keeps selling the bad leg. Cargill goes for a man over the shoulder backbreaker, but collapsed under the weight of it because of the bad leg. Rosa then hits a knee breaker and slaps on the figure 4 leg lock. Cargill didn't look like she knows how to sell that particular move, but reaches the ropes. Rosa then goes into the figure 4 again, but Cargill kicks away. Hooded figure comes out, hits Rosa in the corner, and Cargill hits the Jaded 4 to win. After the match, Rosa jumps Cargill and hooks on the figure, reveals herself to be Mercedes Martinez. Martinez and Cargill beat down Rosa, and Ruby Soho runs in to make the save. Jade Cargill and Ruby Soho are the finalists in the TBS title tournament. I love the fact that Mercedes Martinez is here. Not necessarily a fact that, well, not against her being associated with Jade Cargill, but I don't know that this is the way that things need to go. There's a recap of Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander issue from Rampage last week. Also a match hyping, or a segment hyping, Riho and Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship at Battle for the Belts. CM Punk cuts a promo. Punk immediately goes to thank JR, welcoming him back. Punk also talked about Brody Lee tribute show from last year that came from Jacksonville, and how the tribute show made Punk want to come back to come to AEW. Punk then moved on to MJF, ran him down from last week. During the 6-man tag team main event, MJF thinks he's done what he can for Punk, and Punk says he wants the world title. He calls MJF a bigger waste of Khan's money than Tim Tebow, and then gets a huge pop from the crowd for that. Punk suggests that if MJF wants to be world champion, that Punk and MJF's paths are going to cross again. Backstage promo, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs laid out a challenge from Hobbs to Dante Martin. I don't know who would care about that. Sammy Guevara comes out, and then show goes to a split screen commercial break. During the split screen, Guevara does his gimmick with the cards, and then challenges Cody to a rematch for the TNT title. And then there's Hikaru Shida flunking with her feud with Serena Deeb. Shivani interviews Brian Pillman Jr. in the ring. Pillman cuts promo challenging Malachi Black for next week. As he finishes, the lights go out. When they come back on, they were focused on the entrance, and Black appeared. Points to Pillman, lights go back out again, and they come back up again. Black is gone. So, more goofy histrionics. Rampage Friday, Cody Rhodes, Ethan Page, TNT title, Darby Allin and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed and Sting, and Darby Allin cut promos on each other ahead of their match, and Penelope Ford and the Bunny versus Anna Jay and Ty Conti in a street fight. Not a fan of putting women in street fights, but who really cares? Then we go to next Wednesday's Dynamite for the first Dynamite on TBS. Adam Page, Bryan Danielson world title, Lucha Brothers, Jurassic Express tag titles, Ruby Soho and Jade Cargill for TBS title, Malachi Black and Brian Pillman Jr. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish over Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta. 14:42. I guess this is cool to see O'Reilly, Fish, and Cole back together. They come back as Red Dragon. Anyway, Orange Cassidy avoids slingshot senton from Fish. Cole lays him out with a clothesline. Fish then hits a move. Cole then gets caught in the wrong corner, hits a charging clothesline from the Best Friends, and then double elbow. O'Reilly catches Taylor with the dragon screw leg whip in the ropes, and Fish clips Taylor's leg on the floor. Back from commercial break, Shivani on commentary makes a big deal of TNT has given the show permission to run long. Beretta then catches Fish with a half and half suplex. Beretta hits a spinning DDT on O'Reilly for near fall. Cole catches Beretta with a kick, and members of the Red Dragon take the fight to Beretta, hit a knee drop on Beretta for near fall. Cassidy then comes back after a brief flurry and falls victim to the double team DDT from Red Dragon for a near fall. Cole then hits a super kick on Cassidy, and Red Dragon hits the high-low combination for near fall. The fight then manages to get going and ultimately get taken over at ringside. Cole then hits the Panama Sunrise on the stage. Taylor counters the move and hits a backdrop. Beretta then hits Cole with a spear and throws him into the ring for Cassidy to hit the diving DDT for near fall. Taylor then goes for Beretta with a pair of pile drivers on Cole, and Cassidy follows up with the beach break. O'Reilly then goes for the boot on Cassidy, but Cassidy ducks, and O'Reilly hits Cole with a boot, and Beretta and Taylor hit the soul food half and half combo on Fish. Brandon Cutler runs in to make a distraction for the Best Friends and allows Young Bucks to sneak in, super kick the Best Friends. O'Reilly and Fish hit the Chasing the Dragon Brainbuster Enziguri combination on Taylor to get the win. Post-match, Red Dragon celebrates the win, but the Young Bucks and Cole are upset about O'Reilly's boot kicking out, knocking Cole out, dissension in the ranks of the Elite, and that closes the show. Honestly, a very weak way to close the year for a national promotion, but it is what it is. What can you do? Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.